Welcome back. Trendsjournal.com. That's where you could have read about what is happening right now. You could have read about this a long time ago. Gerald Celente knew what was happening, knew what the trends. And when we talk about timing and the rest of these things, the trends are absolutely undeniable. And he's been on top of this from the very beginning. And so when we look at where we are today, it's no surprise to Gerald. He's told us all of this. And so I want to talk to him about what's going on with gold, because I'm a little bit surprised at what has happened with gold as well. So joining us now is Gerald Celente with trendsjournal.com. And by the way, if you want to be wise and subscribe to the information that Gerald Celente has, especially when we're living in such interesting and volatile times, we'll say, you can save 10% off with the code NIGHT at trendsjournal.com. Thank you for joining us, Gerald.
Thank you. And by the way, with putting night in, it costs you the grand total of $2.50 a week.
Yeah,
pennies.
Amazing.
And again, we're giving there's no magazine. People could go to our YouTube, Gerald Celente or Trends Journal, and you see the comments of the people that subscribe. We're not making this up. There's no journalism's dead.
Yeah,
dead.
Yep.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I was just going through some of the articles here. Alex Springer agrees to £570 million takeover of Telegraph. Media group Axel Springer has agreed to buy Telegraph, blah, 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 for the $575 million in an unexpected move. And they go on to say that the guy that's buying this thing is Dopfner, D-O-P-F-N-E-R. Now, the Telegraph is a big newspaper in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
You ready? At the end of the article over here, it says, this Dopfner saying, quote, "We support the right of existence of the state of Israel and oppose all forms of anti-Semitism."
Yeah, right. It's anti-Semitism if you don't support Benjamin Netanyahu. That's right.
Hey, Dopfner, come over here and you tell me that I'm an anti-Semite because I'm against genocide.
Yeah.
I'm against the slaughter of, according to Lancet, over 100,000 Palestinian people in Gaza. You got the nerve to call. Hey, that's to you. Oh, this is Axel Springer. This is the biggest news agency in Germany that now is controlling the UK.
Yeah.
All right?
That's right.
Oh, who just bought up CBS?
Yeah, it was Ellison family.
Pro-Zionist, huh?
Yeah.
Not my language, theirs.
Yeah.
Who'd they bring in to run the show? Barry Weiss. Pro-Zionist.
Yeah.
Hey, did you hear the crap spewing out of Hegseth's mouth? Our defense secretary. Oh, you mean a little clown boy that played a jerk on Fox before he got this job?
Now he plays a jerk at the Pentagon, yeah.
Yeah. And what did he say? Oh, he's happy that Ellison, they may take over CNN.
Yeah.
Right? So anyway, we're giving people what they're not getting anywhere else. And I'm mentioning this because, again, this is a T-shirt I did when Bill Clinton ran for office back in 1992.
Mm-hmm.
He deregulated the Federal Communications Act in 1996. There were thousands of independent radio stations, newspapers, magazines, TV stations, on and on. Now, 6 companies control 92% of the media.
Yeah, yeah. And we're going to wind up with one giant media ring to rule them all.
Yep.
Run by Sauron.
Right,
yeah, that's right. They're consolidating everything. We're only going to have one. I remember a few years ago we were talking about, look at this, we've got about a half dozen media companies now. Well, those half dozen media companies have been consolidating more and more. We're going to wind up literally with just one media company that's going to be the Ministry of Truth. Yeah.
So now going back to gold.
Mm-hmm.
This is where your Trends Journal economic update. And we go on to say, this is the day that Trump gave his State of the Union address. We had forecast in the magazine that by the weekend he would attack Iran. I did a podcast with Judge Napolitano. Remember, Trump does this on a Tuesday. On a Wednesday, I do a podcast. There's one coming up tonight with the judge. I say he's going to attack this weekend. Anyway, we go on to say that later on, we go on to say, on the gold side, as a result of the U.S.-Israel attack on Iran over the weekend, gold had spiked. Remember, they attack them on February 28th.
Saturday.
Now, this is Monday.
Saturday,
right?
And you've been saying for months it'll start, even before you got more specific about that particular Saturday. You've been saying it'll happen on a Saturday because they want to do it when the markets are closed.
Right. That's when they did it in June, and that's when he invaded Venezuela, which everybody forgot about, and kidnapped the president and his wife. Anyway, gold had spiked to $5,400 an ounce on Monday. But then, with a blink of an eye, when the equity markets opened in the U.S., prices fell some $200 an ounce, right like that.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay? Now, let's go back to what just happened when BS Trump last Saturday said, I'm giving them 48 hours. 48 hours. And if they don't do what I tell them to do, we're going to bomb them and don't put me in a riot, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Right. And set the Mideast on fire as well, because they promised that they would attack all the other infrastructure as well of all the other countries that there. So he was basically saying 48 hours before we set the Middle East on fire.
And then what happens on Monday? Hey, I'm talking to them. We got a deal. Let's make a deal. I'm the apprentice, all right? It's the presidential reality show, all right?
It is, yeah.
I'm just doing a TV show, so you listen to me. We got a deal going on with them. Oil prices fell 11%.
Yeah.
And what happened a couple of minutes before he did it? It's all the data's there.
That's right.
Oh, the Trump teams, they don't know who did it. They bet, what, $500 million?
Well, I'm sure Kash Patel and Pam Bondi are going to find out who did it and prosecute them, don't you think?
Oh, yeah, of course. It's rigged.
Yeah.
Now,
that's right.
To make it 1,000% clear how the gangster. Oh, by the way, what happened to the Epstein stuff? Shh.
Yeah, that's right.
I forgot about that. All right.
Yeah, who says crime doesn't pay?
Yeah. You ready? Why did gold prices and silver dive? And here's what we wrote. Once upon a time, not too long ago, J.P. Morgan Chase was fined for rigging the precious metals markets. Here is what Reuters reported. So it's not out of my mouth. We wanted to put the clear from mainstream. J.P. Morgan, this is September 29th, 2020. J.P. Morgan Chase & Company has agreed to pay more than $920 million and admitted to wrongdoing to settle federal probe into its trading of metal futures. They go on to say that the bank for several years and marks a significant victory for the government's effort to clamp down on illegal trading in the futures and precious metals market. They were rigging it.
Oh, yeah.
Hey,
right.
I'm Jamie Dimon. I'm some arrogant piece of scum. We can get fined like $920 million. I don't go to jail.
That's right.
Hey, pull over. Your back light was off. Get out of your car. Spin on your head. Repeat the alphabet backwards. Do you have anything to drink? You're going to jail. All right?
Yeah. Or I might kill you.
Prosecution to the fullest. For we, the people of Slavelandia, like scumbags, like pieces of arrogant criminals that rigged the precious metals market. Hey, take it easy, Celente. I think we only got fined for what? 5 felonies, J.P. Morgan Chase?
That's right. Yeah. When you
All
look
right?
at this, yeah, the House always wins with a casino, right? Except when it's Trump's casinos and they go bankrupt. But the House always wins when it's Trump's White House because they can rig the markets, can't
Again,
they?
it's not only Trump, it's one after another.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh,
Right.
what'd you forget about Hunter Biden?
Yeah.
A little coke addict, drug deep, screwed up little piece of scum. Hey, I'm on the board of directors of Burisma Energy in Ukraine. Right after we overthrew the government, all right? All right?
That's right.
Oh, and who else got on that? Oh, Christopher Hines. Who? You mean the Hines, 57? Oh, yeah. You mean the stepson-in-law of Carrie, the clown boy?
Yeah.
You remember him?
Oh, yeah. Lurch.
Yeah.
John Kerry.
Yeah, John Kerry. Another little arrogant piece of scum.
Yeah.
And, you know, people are, oh, by the way, I'm getting blacklisted and all. People say, calm down, Celente. We don't like your language. And you get so angry. Oh, yeah. You wouldn't be angry if you're a Lebanese and 1 million of you got thrown out of your homes. Oh, you'd be very happy. Don't be angry. Oh, you only killed over 1,000 innocent people?
Yeah.
Don't
right.
get angry. Be
Yeah.
a good little boy.
That's right.
Leader. We got a clown, an arrogant lying clown playing presidential reality show, telling 343 million people what to do. I'm the president. You do what I tell you. Oh, I forgot. Remember the COVID war? Hey, I'm Andy Cuomo. My daddy was the governor before me. Close down your business. Get back in your house. We got the COVID war to fight.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Remember that?
That's right. That's
One
right.
politician after another telling people what to do, and all the gutless people follow their leader.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We're still in kindergarten.
That's right. That's right.
Do what I tell you. I'm your teacher. Time to take a nap. I'm not tired. Time to take a nap.
That's right. I got a comment here from.
By the way,
I got a comment here from a listener, Gerald. That's for you. Said, please, can you remind Gerald that Trump designated $500 billion to Ellison on his second day in office this term, supposedly for the deadly, demonic mRNA Frankenstein jabs that he used to buy TikTok and CBS. So, yeah. In his very first act, he brings in Larry Ellison.
Yep.
And he's got these guys. His focus now is on not just the abomination of the mRNA bioweapons, but he also wants to merge that with artificial intelligence. And he does that on his very first day in office. You know, we're going to have AI is going to custom design the poison for each and every one of you. And so that's where we are with this guy. And when you look at what's happening with the AI stuff, it's truly frightening, Gerald, what the Trump White House, as well as Senator Marsha Blackburn, who is going to be our next governor here in Tennessee. There's nobody even to challenge her. They're putting out this, they want to get rid of any obstacles that anybody at the state or local level would put for artificial intelligence, and they want to fully weaponize and control it and centrally control it in Washington. And it's very frightening to see what these people are doing. It is the ultimate weapon. It is just like the mRNA stuff. It is a weapon against us.
Oh, yeah. Again, love it, hate it, want it, don't want it.
Mm-hmm.
AI is the future, and the government's going to control more. And again, we're talking about gold. They're going to go to central bank digital currencies. You see, again, we're writing the articles in the Trends Journal, how the Trump team's on all of this stuff. Oh, stable coins.
Well, yeah, don't you think that's the way they're going to do it? I mean, they've come out, kind of their cover has been blown to some degree here in the United States. And in Europe, they don't even care. They still call it central bank digital currency. But here, I think they're going to accomplish the same thing with the so-called stable coins and tell everybody, oh, it's not central bank digital currency. Don't worry, it's not that. When functionally, there's no difference, really.
None.
It's just that they're cutting themselves in on a big part of the profit rather than letting all the money be made by the Federal Reserve.
Yep. And again, the Trump team's totally in it.
Let me ask you this about what Iran is doing, because they've been playing it pretty smart in terms of not just the military stuff, but also the economic asymmetric warfare. One of the things that they're talking about doing is setting this thing up as a toll area, and they're going to charge people to go through. They're going to charge people in, you can go through if you pay in Chinese yuan.
Yep.
And so it looks like they're trying to help the Chinese establish something similar to the petrodollar that we no longer have because we lost our partner on that, Saudi Arabia. So Iran wants to be the partner of China in terms of setting up a petro yuan, looks like. What do you think?
Well, it's only going to go so far with it, and but again, they've had enough of it, and the world is people are suffering from this. Here, again, I just read to you the day that Trump went on the air about his State of the Union address. Because you elected me, in most states, the price of gasoline a gallon, $2.30.
Now you don't worry about it, right? Now we don't. Now we're not supposed to worry about it.
Yeah. By the way, it was a lie. I looked it up. It was $2.92. Now what is it? I just went on the air before we went on AAA. $3.98 a gallon.
Wow, that's the average.
Average in America.
Wow, and of course, when it was cheap. When it was cheap and he was bragging about it being cheap, he wasn't smart enough to fill up the Strategic Petroleum Reserve gas tank before he goes to war in the Middle East and sets it on fire.
What do you mean smart enough? What has he ever been smart enough doing?
I know, it is when you go back and look at this, I mean, people are just going to be shaking their heads at the actions that he did, not even from a moral and a legal standpoint, but just from a pragmatic standpoint. What he's doing is so incredibly stupid. It's hilarious, really.
Again, it's one lie after another. You're asking me why gold is going down and hasn't risen. They're lying. Remember that, again, that little clown boy, Chris Wright, the energy secretary.
Yeah.
I call him Chris Wrong, a little jerk, lying right in front of everybody's eyes. We got U.S. naval forces bringing oil tankers through the Straits of Hormuz. Down goes oil prices. A total lie.
Yeah, he must have overheard. He must have overheard Trump talking about escorts, and he thought he was actually talking about ships. Probably talking about hookers in D.C. But I've got a comment from one of our listeners here saying he talks to his relatives, and they say they're MAGA people, and they say, it's we pay it now or we pay it later. And he says, I'm so sick and tired of hearing this. They don't care what he does, And we hear this. This is a soundbite that everybody's repeating. Short-term pain, long-term gain. This is going to be a long-term pain. Absolutely, it's going to be long-term.
Yeah, this is Iran has targeted countries across the blah, 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 blah. In response, U.S. President Donald Trump claimed, quote, that many countries would send warships to the Strait to defend shipping in a post on Truth social media. Truth. How about live social media? And that hopefully, you ready? China, France, Japan, South Korea, Britain, and others will send vessels. This is what he wrote.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, he warned that, quote, the U.S., you ready? Will be bombing the hell out of the shoreline, and one way or the other, we will soon get the Strait of Hormuz open, safe, and free.
I bet Trump has never even seen a picture of the shoreline. He wouldn't be thinking of sending troops in if he'd ever seen a picture of the topography that's there, the mountain ranges that are right there at the edge and so forth. There was the guy who's a former highest-ranking French official on NATO, and he was on a program in France, and the guy was asking him, so are we going to help Trump with Strait of Hormuz? And he's like, not a chance. And he started giving reasons. He said, first of all, the guy doesn't realize that if this is a NATO operation, it's a joint operation. And he needs to, first of all, tell us what his plans are, if he's got any. But he doesn't have any. So he says he's got to, first of all, have some plans, and he's got to coordinate that with us so that we're not all doing our own thing and interfering with each other. And he goes, he can't do any of that. He said what he's doing is he's selling dance tickets on the Titanic after it's already hit the iceberg. And he said he's not looking for military assistance. He's looking for political assistance. That's really true. I thought it was very astute of the guy. He said he's looking for political cover, not military cover.
That's it.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, did you see the cover talking about the Strait of Hormuz?
Yeah, that's
the cover of this week's magazine.
You got Trump in a boat. That's right. Show the cover, Travis, if you can.
Washington crossed the Delaware. Will draft dodger Trump, who said, I'm not afraid of anything, cross the Strait of Hormuz.
Yeah, Washington crossed the Delaware. Trump double-crossed the U.S., didn't he?
Yeah. And again, this is an illegal, unconstitutional war.
Yes.
Again, you go back to a couple of weeks ago, the Trends Journal cover. Why did Trump says it was my opinion that Iran was going to attack us first.
Mm-hmm.
Your opinion?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How about showing us the facts? I don't have to show you the facts. Again, this is the arrogance, not my language, his. This is about a month ago. The New York Times asked if there were any limits to his global power. Mr. Trump said, yeah, there's only one thing. My own morality, my own mind. It's the only thing that could stop me. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
I don't need international law.
Yeah.
If I said that, this guy, who the hell is he to say he doesn't need international law? Who the hell is he to say only his own mind?
That's right.
Hey, I'm Trump, all right? All right? I mean, how could he get away with this?
Yeah. Yeah, there's going to be another No Kings rally over the weekend, I think. But what we really need is no princes either, because we've got all these bureaucrats. I just, at the beginning of the show, I talked about how it's constantly one thing after the other. These people are banning, and I don't know if you saw this yet or not, Gerald, but they just announced that the FCC is going to ban most routers that are sold in the United States because they're not made in the United States. So they said it's a security issue for people. And it's a security issue because they want to be the ones who have the back door to your routers and that type of thing. But it's crazy. They just go through and they willy-nilly ban whatever they wish. What gives them the right to do that? Where do we even have the authority for the FCC to even exist?
What are you kidding? We have this. I'm trying to say we got clowns telling us what to do.
Yeah.
On and on and on. Again, we'll look at the COVID war. Oh, that Trump launched, by the way, on what? We taught this 1,000 times.
Mm-hmm.
On March 13th, Black Friday, 2020, state of emergency, and then sold the Operation Warp Speed jab. Operation Warp Speed. How warped could you be to swap? Why, I believe in him. Yeah, again, your Trends Journal. Again, this is, we were
Warp Speed about, for the slow thinkers, yeah.
Again, lies. Prices had risen to nearly $120. I mentioned this. This is from the Trends Journal. Late Sunday, after Iran started striking oil tankers traversing the Straits of Hormuz in Iraq and Kuwait, where they shut down oil production. Again, lies, and more lies spewed out by Trump and his gang to do what they can to rig the equities and commodities markets for all to see. Therefore, except the lies keep coming, with truth will be untold. With major concerns that oil markets are being rigged by Washington, yesterday, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent told CNBC that the administration had no plans to intervene in financial markets and may not have the authority to do so, even if it wanted.
Yeah.
We write, no plans? Does that mean the plans could change?
Mm-hmm.
How about saying we would never do anything like that?
That's right. Yeah. That's right. Yeah, we haven't done that yet.
May not have the authority? How about you don't have the authority?
Yeah.
And look what just happened. When Trump said that forget 48 hours, I'm giving 5 more days.
Yeah.
And they, all of a sudden, $500 million to short the markets.
Yeah.
Right in front of everybody's eyes.
Yeah, $1.5 billion. Yeah, that's right. Well, certainly they're manipulating the markets. And we've talked about this in the past. What about some other assets, other issues as well? I think that there's a lot of people who are looking at oil and thinking, yeah, this is going to be a surefire double in just a couple of months. So maybe they may be pulling some money out of the gold holdings that they've got and put it into oil. Another thing I want to get your take on, what about the Gulf states? I mean, these guys are seeing their income being blown up and blocked off. And so I think there's a lot of Gulf states out there that need some liquidity. They might be selling their massive holdings in gold as well. What do you think about that?
That's very true. and they are selling.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, a lot of people that were playing the gold markets were playing the stock markets.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the stocks, again, we wrote in the Trends Journal magazine before Trump gave his State of the Union address. We had all the poll data in there. And we said, this thing's going down. When all else fails, they take it to war.
Yep, that's right.
What happened was when the markets were going down before this, again, we call the dot-com bust.
Mm-hmm.
And you're seeing what's going on with the private equity groups. They can't follow one after another. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
what did Moody's just downgraded KKR?
Really? Yeah.
To junk.
Wow. That's David Petraeus where he hangs out.
You got it. No, you didn't say his name right. It's David betrayed us.
That's right. He did. Absolutely did. And of course, the Kravitz guy or whatever and Petraeus, regulars at the Bilderberg conference. Always there. It's truly amazing. Well, gold has been a safe haven. And I think that's why a lot of people are surprised that we had a bad week. It was like the worst week that had in 43 years in terms of gold going down. Of course, it's still up over the, over the last couple of months, over the last year, it's up significantly. All of the fundamental stuff that is there in terms of long-term perspective are still there and even stronger. And so when I look at it, I see gold as being on sale. I don't know what you see when you look at it. I think we got Gerald Celente back with us. Gerald, are you there?
I'm back. Yeah, we had a little problem with the internet here.
Okay, great.
All right, so before I was telling you the equity markets are going down, going back to gold. A lot of people, they're playing the gold markets, doing the futures markets, et cetera. They're losing money, so they had to pull it out of there.
Mm-hmm.
That's what brought down a lot of the prices.
That's right. They got to cover their positions, yeah.
And then they're selling the lie that because the United States, the dollar's going up, so that means it's more safe to buy treasuries, et cetera, because of the strength of the dollar. That's a lot of baloney. Did you see the article that came out in Fortune that's showing that the real debt to GDP level in the United States, the real debt level in the United States is 43 trillion, not 39 trillion or 38 trillion?
Oh, yeah. The unfunded liability is like Social Security, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So going back to Trump, what there was just the gentleman was just saying about Hegseth. This is March 4th. Remember, the war begins on February 28th. So 3-4 days later,
mm-hmm.
He goes, they are toast. They know it, or they will know it soon enough.
Yeah.
Iran, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
This is him. Iran's senior leaders are dead. The so-called governing council that would have selected successors, Hegseth added, are dead, missing, and cowering in bunkers, too terrified to even occupy the same room. Iran officials cannot talk or communicate, let alone mount a coordinated, sustained offensive.
Yeah.
Well, that was March 4th.
As soon as he says stuff like that, they immediately release a massive barrage against other people. We've taken out all their missile launchers, and then they see. He said it's so obvious that he's lying to everybody about it.
Yep.
And it's really Trump is the one who's toast, and he's constantly being buttered up on both sides by these sycophants that he's put around himself.
Again, this is going back before.
Yeah.
President Trump said there would be no deal to end the U.S. war against Iran without, you ready? Unconditional surrender. That's what he was saying before.
That's right.
This is the quote on what they call Truth Social, Lie Social. Quote, after that, and the selection of a great and acceptable, all in capitals, leader, we and many of our wonderful and very brave allies and partners will work tirelessly to bring Iran back from the brink of destruction, making it economically bigger, better, and stronger than ever before. This is the kind of crap he writes.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so full of boasting and bragging, and it is so empty. It's so tiresome. I think what is going to happen, I'm really concerned because I think the Democrats can pretty much run the most radical people on the left and get elected as this thing is going to drag on on. So
What
we're
just
going to
happened
get
in-
whipsawed to the other side of this thing, I think.
Yep. Yeah. This is going back. President Trump boasted on Tuesday that U.S. strikes, quote, had knocked out most of Iran's military. I mean, unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's just
yeah.
one lie after another.
That's right. Yeah.
Remember this one? March 4th. Trump, any potential next leader of Iran, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Just ends up dead.
Wow. Yeah, and that's the thing that really disgusts me too is War Pete Hegseth. Just like that clip I was playing, the guy says, you know, this is not only a war crime, but it is also making it more dangerous for our own soldiers, right? If you're going to kill everybody when you capture them, rather than giving them humane treatment, as we've all agreed to do, you want to go to total unlimited war. You're going to machine gun people in the water. And this goes back to before the Iran situation. This goes back to their other war of aggression against Venezuela and attacking people that were no threat to them. And then going around, even if you didn't kill them, you circle back around and murder them as they're shipwrecked. This has always been considered to be a war crime. And I think it's going to be kind of interesting to see some of these people get some criminal referrals to the International Criminal Court. Not that they'll necessarily get there because Netanyahu's got one, but he hasn't had to stand before them. But they did get Duterte out of the Philippines. He was a guy that was a big hero to Trump because he was shooting people on the streets if he just thought that they were a drug dealer. And so now he's answering to an International Criminal Court. He's in the docket. He will probably go to jail for that, but I'll have to wait and see. If people get upset enough with Trump, they might hand him over. Who knows?
Again, you're talking about the drug dealers. It had nothing to do with that. It was stealing their oil.
That's right. That's right.
They lied about this drug dealing crap.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, they killed a couple of people last week in a boat too.
Yeah.
But again, as I said, you think we would have invaded Iraq, Syria, and Libya if their major export was broccoli?
That's right. Absolutely right.
It's the same thing with Venezuela. Again, my book, Trend Tracking, far better than Megatrends, Time Magazine. I write about how I became a trend forecaster, and it's right here, the Iran conflict, right here.
Mm-hmm.
It's 1978-79. People had no idea the United States overthrew the democratically elected government of Mohammad Mossadegh in 1953 because he had the nerve to say that the oil in Iran belonged to the Iranian people.
Yeah, I'm so tired of hearing this 47-year. I'm so tired of hearing this 47-year thing. People don't understand anything at all about that. There's a great article, by the way, from David Stockman, who said, I was there in the Reagan administration. I understand what we were doing to Iran then as well, and he talks about it. Thank you so much for joining us, Gerald Celente, trendsjournal.com. If you use the code NIGHT, you can save 10% off, and it is an amazing publication weekly. And as Gerald points out, it's only a little over $2 a week if you have that 10% off. Thank you for joining us, Gerald.
Thank you for everything you're doing.
Thank
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. The common man. They created Common Core to dumb down our children. They created Common Pass to track and control us. Their Commons Project to make sure the commoners own nothing. And the communist future. They see the common man as simple, unsophisticated, ordinary. But each of us has worth and dignity created in the image of God. That is what we have in common. That is what they want to take away. Their most powerful weapons are isolation, deception, intimidation. They desire to know everything about us while they hide everything from us. It's time to turn that around and expose what they want to hide. Please share the information and links you'll find at davidknightshow.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing. If you can't support us financially, please keep us in your prayers. davidknightshow.com.